Boomer coming to you live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Friday morning. And for one final time in 2024, it's a feel-good summer Friday. The next time I'll be uttering these words, it will be a feel-good football Friday. But we're not quite there yet. We are celebrating our final feel-good summer Friday of 2024, and you've got a lot to feel good about in New York sports, especially if you're a Met or Yankee fan. And I was feeling it yesterday afternoon. Shockingly, I played golf yesterday, and the guy I was in the cart with, huge Yankee fan. So instead of putting on music, he's streaming the Yankee game in the cart. So I'm listening to BT. I listened to essentially all of BT's broadcast yesterday. There's a little crisp chill in the air. The Mets last night go out to San Diego, start this road trip off on a great note. I'm leaving the house. It's dark, chilly, got the hoodie on. You know what I said to myself, Boomer?
What'd you say to yourself?
Smells like October.
Oh, boy.
Starting to smell like October.
Oh, now you're coming around.
Starting to smell like October around these parts. I don't know about you. I don't know if you can feel it. You can smell it. But it's starting to smell like October. And if the New York Yankees in this world in Major League Baseball where everybody stinks can't at least make it to the World Series, that's going to be a massive failure. But right now, what's going on with Aaron Judge? Another home run yesterday. Spectacular. Feel good summer Friday, Boomer. Let's eat it up.
Okay.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, listen. Thanks for coming over to my side now. Now you're starting to see it the way that I'm
going to do it.
Wait a minute,
You're saying they're going to do it.
You said it smells like October baseball.
It smells like October right now.
It smells like something else. I walked past Eddie and Al's room over there. The door's open, and it smells like dirty feet or dirty socks.
No, it doesn't.
Not really sure what it is.
No, it doesn't.
But, Aaron Judge, is on this historic pace. So is Juan Soto. I mean, and Garrett Cole was great yesterday. So that's back-to-back performances from Cortez and Garrett Cole that, now, okay, here we go. We get ready to step into September here in another week or so. And this is what you're hoping. You're hoping that they find their games and that their games are going to be at the top of their games as we get into these important games at the end of the season. So, look, man, this is a bomb squad. You know it. I know it. Everybody else knows it. That's why the 44,000 people show up to watch it. And man, I'll tell you what, it's great seeing these majestic home runs. They're amazing. They are amazing, and every one is even more amazing than the one prior to it. And I'm giddy about it. That's the word I would like to use. I'm giddy.
You're giddy this morning about New York baseball?
Wow. I have been about the Yankees.
I'm not giddy. I mean, you've been projecting that they're going to do well, but not giddy. Haven't heard you say giddy before.
Well, these are words that don't get used very often. And since I talked to that guy at Jerry Recco's golf tournament about words that aren't used, I've been trying to use more of those words.
Oh, okay. I like that. Dusting off some of the old vocabulary, some of the things you learned in the school system, the public school system of East Islip schools back in the 70s.
I've been hearkening back.
Hearkening back.
Yes.
To old vocabulary words. I like it. Yeah, so the guy I was playing with yesterday, you've played with him before. Great guy. And he puts on the Yankee game, and I'm like, I really don't want to listen to the Yankee game right now. I want to play, and I want to go home and then find out what happens. So I can watch it. I like, me out there. I like to lock in,
you are locked in. Yeah, but I'm just saying.
I don't need to be distracted. You want to put on a little music, put on a little music. I don't.
You got the BT-isms going.
Yeah, right.
And I'm thinking.
Fundamentally disagree. I fundamentally disagree with the decision to put the Yankee game on.
Yes.
But he was hosting yesterday.
You got to do it those
and he's
once.
A big Yankee fan. And I was like, I'll just let it go. Because, I mean, it's hard because then now I got one ear on the game and trying to pay attention to that and the golf game. But it ended up working out. Yankees won, and then we won as well.
Okay, so that's why you're happy.
Money in the pocket.
Right, money in the pocket, you are happy. Okay.
And then last night I was on I did a lot of winning yesterday, and I've been doing a lot of losing. A lot of winning yesterday. I got roped into one of the all-time Sayville cornhole runs to the point where I wanted to go in and see a friend guest bartend at the Portly Villager at 7:30, and I walked out of there at 10:45.
Oh, boy.
And this was like the classic, I don't know if you've seen these memes, like what you think your husband is doing as opposed to what he's actually doing, like you're out late 10:45 on a Thursday as he's sneaking around. Meanwhile, I'm just back of this back deck throwing bean bags for 3 hours. But we were on a great run, man.
I was wondering why you have puffy eyes this morning.
I got puffy eyes.
You definitely have puffy eyes.
I didn't sleep. And then, we $180 came my way in cornhole. And then there was a listener out there who was cheering me on, saying, "Go Buchanan, go."
Oh, really?
So it was a good night. And I said, you know what? Crisp air, I'm winning, Yankees winning. I didn't know the Mets were going to win at that point.
Yeah.
Smelled like October last night.
Smelled like October, and it feels like October this morning. A little chill in the air.
It does.
Hey,
a lot of winning yesterday. A lot of winning.
So you're playing golf yesterday. I'm working. I do an appearance with Phil Simms.
Oh, that is work.
The great Phil Simms, just work. I mean, he's just
a lot of work.
Yeah, for FanDuel. And we went to the FanDuel offices yesterday.
Nice.
And we were talking. We love to talk.
Are they nice?
Ball.
They're probably really nice, the FanDuel offices.
Oh, yeah, they're actually moving because they're outgrowing their initial offices.
Oh.
And so they're moving. So I think it's going to be even nicer.
Are they expanding their footprint?
I think that's exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
Or getting a bigger floor footprint. In other words, they have 3 floors, I think, now. I think they're going to do like maybe 1 or 2 floors, but bigger main floors.
Good for FanDuel, man. Love to hear that.
Right. So we were over there yesterday with your friend Kay Adams. And Kay,
did you say hello from me?
No.
Oh, why not?
I didn't want to bring that up. I just said, let me just.
It's a great opportunity.
Let me just be Boomer here. I don't want to be a part. Like, it's not that I don't want to be a part of Boomer and Geo, but she said some very nice things about our morning radio show and how popular it is, and I did appreciate that. And
she's lying about that.
No, she's not. No, she's not.
She doesn't know what's going on with this show. She has no idea.
100% knows.
She's out in L.A.
Let me tell you something.
Is she out in L.A.?
No, she was in New York yesterday.
Yeah, it's just a nice thing to say.
And this was great. And she's tremendous, and she handled the 2 of us idiots very professionally. Because when we get together, we can be idiots.
You and Phil, that is.
Yes, that is. Yeah. So I learned a new term, and I think Phil's going to call in a little bit later, Al. So just be aware that he could be coming in hot this morning, because I brought it up yesterday in front of everybody, what he had told me in the green room, and then he gets mad at me, and he says that I always bring up what he and I talk about on this show, and he never really has a chance to retort because we're just hammering away and slicing and dicing around here.
That is true. That is a common complaint from people.
Yes.
That we just are allowed for 4 hours to just fillet people, and then they don't get an opportunity to defend themselves.
So yesterday, I learned something new that I never even thought about in my professional football life.
Okay.
In my professional broadcasting life. We often talk about the draft.
Yeah.
And Phil and I love talking about quarterbacks, who we loved, who we didn't love, who turned out to be good that we didn't think was going to turn out to be good, who we knew was going to be good and has turned out to be good, that kind of thing.
And Phil particularly loves the male anatomy when it comes to the draft.
Thank you very much. And he's more into the weeds.
Oh, yeah.
About things.
Like thigh size, where the ass lands on a man. Like what the position it's in, biceps, cranial circumference. I mean, these are the things that he loves those things.
He loves those things. Now, I can't believe you're saying what you're saying.
What do you mean you can't believe it? This is a known
because
fact.
I haven't really got to the question I was going to ask you about me, just to reaffirm some of the things that I look for in a quarterback from a physical stature.
Okay. Yeah.
So when we're talking about quarterbacks coming out in the draft, you and I often discuss different aspects of people, like the difference between C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young last year.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And what are the attributes that I look for in a quarterback?
You like a thick base?
Yeah, thick base.
You like a thick base?
Yes.
You like height?
Height.
And you like a big hand?
Big hand, yep.
And you also, this is not physical, but you want a guy who loves ball. And that's something you look for.
So I you know what? I could not have been more accurate than you just laid it out. I mean,
I think I know you better than you at this point.
I do. Me too, right?
Yeah.
But I learned something new yesterday.
Okay.
From Mr. Phil Sim. Mr. Phil Sim.
Mr. Phil Sim?
Well, we call him Mr. Phil Sim out around because Eddie has a drop for him where there's a guy saying Mr. Phil Sim.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He drops the S.
Got it.
So Eddie will find it. I don't know where it is. It's probably deep, deep, deep in the folders.
I actually never heard. Yeah, all right. I actually never heard that.
Never heard that? One more time, Eddie.
That was a UPS driver in Astoria.
Yes.
Wow.
Who was making a delivery, and Craig brought him in, and because he thought Boomer was Phil.
Oh,
and he brought him on the air, and like, hey, who is that guy?
Mr. Phil Sim. And he said it just so confidently, like, I'm here delivering to Mr. Phil Sim.
Right. So I was with Mr. Phil Sim yesterday.
Yeah.
And we're in the green room, and we're talking. And there's a couple of FanDuel guys in there with us, and we're talking ball because that's what we do.
Those guys are loving it. A
lot of Patriot fans over there. They all want to know about Drake May, and so Phil starts going
Patriot fans, aren't those? But FanDuel's has always been New York.
We in this particular instance, we're talking with Patriots fans,
and
we're talking about Drake May.
I was with a Patriot fan yesterday too.
Okay, so we're talking about Drake May, and we're talking about the physical attributes of Drake May. And then, for some reason, we get on to another previous quarterback. I don't necessarily know that I really want to mention his name because it was a little bit of negativity that came out of Phil in regard to a part of his anatomy. And I had never heard somebody talking about this part of the anatomy when it comes to a quarterback the way that Phil so proudly was discussing this particular issue that this one player had. And this one player was a number 1 overall draft pick.
Well, it's not going to be hard to figure out then.
It is because it came many years ago. I mean, you can go back through all the number 1 draft picks and you can try to figure it out. And if you figure it out, but maybe you'll know because maybe you see the things that Phil Sims saw in this guy. Yeah. Yeah, it had nothing to do with his Johnson.
I thought you were going to reference the very famous small penis on Tim Couch. Is that what it was?
No.
Because that's been a huge rumor over the years.
By the way, his name did come up yesterday, and Phil had some very unique comments about him that really opened my eyes about certain things.
All right.
But he's talking about this guy, and he goes, this guy has tiny knees.
Tiny knees?
That's what I said.
Small knees?
Tiny knees.
Tiny knees.
Small, tiny knees, I think he said. Let me see. Where is it? Phil Sims on this guy. Little tiny knees. I had to write it down because I never heard that before.
Who's he talking about? You got to tell me. It's so what if the guy had tiny knees? You guys are talking about it yesterday. There's a bunch of people there. They know what it was. Why can't we hear it? Now I want to know who's got tiny knees.
All right. He was a first overall draft pick. He's no longer playing. And he was one of the quarterbacks that got the last big contracts before
Sam Bradford. Tiny knees.
Yes.
And he used to tear those knees up all the time. Didn't he had like a ACL and something else, and
but he had tiny knees.
Wow.
Hey Al.
Small knee Bradford.
I think you have tiny knees. You have tiny knees?
I don't think so. I have skinny legs, but I think I have these regular knees.
Do you have your stretch jeans on right now?
I could get it over my knee, sure.
Come in here. Let me see your knee. Tell me if this is a tiny knee. I had no idea this was a thing. Let me see.
I'm on Sam Bradford knee images. No, that's a normal man's knee.
That's a normal man. I think that's a tiny knee. To me, that's a tiny knee. Let me see my knee against your knee. Hold on.
No. Al may have a bigger knee than me, actually.
You think so?
Yeah, I feel like I've got dainty joints. I feel like I've got dainty wrists and ankles.
It's a smaller knee.
Well, I mean, everything's bigger on Boomer than you. I mean, comparing it to you is not.
Yeah, but the good news is that nobody said I had tiny knees.
No, obviously you don't have tiny knees.
Yeah,
we know that. I'm looking at Sam Bradford. I mean, he's wearing knee pads, so it's hard for me. I don't have a naked knee picture of Sam Bradford, so I got to take Phil's word for it.
He said he had tiny knees.
Well, it didn't work out for him.
No, it didn't. But I mean, it's now I have to start looking at knees now. And I never thought I was ever going to have to do that. But now it's a big part of obviously seeing whether or not a guy could play.
I mean, did he give an example of a man who had a large knee or an adequate knee and said that's the knee you're looking for? Like when he was said, man, like, you know, I don't know, like it's sort of a way someone would evaluate a horse, like a horse trainer. Like
Exactly. He said that Sam Bradford had horse knees.
Come on.
That's what he said. He says exactly.
How disrespectful.
Well,
If I'm Sam Bradford, man, I don't know. I may go for defamation of character. You're calling me horse knees? You're out there at the FanDuel offices just completely crapping all over my name and calling them horse knees and tiny knees?
We all said he had a great arm. We all thought that he was a quality quarterback. Nobody was disrespecting his quarterback prowess or any of that stuff. He just said he had tiny knees.
Wow.
He said little tiny knees.
And horse knees.
It's an LTK, little tiny knees.
Wow. Interesting.
So now I think this now when we come to the draft next year, we're going to have to, you know how we talk about hand size?
Yeah.
We talk about the lower base.
Yep.
We talk about overall height and weight.
Yeah.
Now, little tiny knees.
You know, I found a picture of his knee,
Oh, you did?
his right knee out of a brace wearing shorts. And I don't know if it's because you've been talking to me about his tiny knees that I'm looking at it that way, but I'll put it this way, it's not a large knee. I
So
don't
it
know
is
if
a
it's-
little tiny knee for the size, for how big he is.
Yeah.
He was tall.
Yeah, I think he might be onto something here.
Well, we'd have to see if any Hall of Famers have tiny knees.
I mean, his knee looks more like an elbow.
So that's a tiny knee.
Yeah. I got to say, Phil, I think, nailed that one.
I'm not saying he's not nailing it because, you know, like when I need to go into the weeds with this, because I tell him, look, I'm dealing with the Knicks, the Rangers, the Mets, the Yankees, the Jets, the Giants, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Devils. You know, we're dealing with a lot of things around here.
Yeah, so you can't be on top of all the knees of these quarterbacks.
Exactly. And this is something that now he has given me insight into. And, you know, this is another situation where you can always learn something new. That's the way I looked at it.
And you did. So I love when this happens, like the first segment of the show, and I feel my pocket vibrating with a text message. Like who is chiming in at this hour with this conversation that has my number? See, look at that. Look at the CBS Sports Hour came up with a picture. I mean,
that's a tiny name.
I feel like he's right about this.
Yeah.
You know, so now I'm sorry, Phil. I said Sam Bradford should sue you for defamation of character saying he had horse knees. The man does have horse knees.
The thing about it is like he doesn't have a big thigh. You know, so you can't have a big thigh with little knees. And that's why what Tua did to himself, recreated his lower half after he got rid of Brian Flores, who's just a horrendous person.
Yeah.
And you look at Tua now.
Tua.
And Tua, you know, the lower half after the hip injury and working out and everything, he came back last year, he looked really thick. And now this year, he's even thicker.
Do you think it's Phil Simms that's texting me saying, shut up, you a-hole?
No, I think Phil will call in at some point. I don't know if he's up yet, maybe a little bit early for him.
It's either going to be Ryan Hurley or Joey from Yonkers.
Okay.
And it's Ryan Hurley. That's
Okay.
who it is. Yep.
Why is he texting you while we're on the air?
He is chiming in on the conversation. He's engaged.
So does he have tiny knees?
Probably not. Speaking of knees, guy who works here, E.J. Stewart, first day back after reconstructive knee surgery.
Yeah.
But good news, I found out today, it's his non-kicking leg.
Yes.
So he can play kickball again, which is the sport that he loves that tore his knee up.
Yeah, he ruptured his patella tendon, and he's been out for 5 weeks.
Yeah, he was thin. He was limping around here.
Yeah, he's got the big brace on and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for what we do for our, like, we sit down.
Yeah, that's all I do is sit.
And
Like
Al kind of sits, but he's a little bit more McAfee-ish. Sometimes he'll stand, especially when he's answering the phone.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a gold medal that was awarded for sitting,
Like I'd be Simone Biles. You know?
Yeah.
So bottom line is, in this business, we do a lot of sitting.
And you know, I don't know. He had a ruptured patella tendon that he had to have reattached. And then he made it worse. He said that he actually, not only did it come off the kneecap and the femur,
I don't know,
that there was also a split in it.
Oh, God.
And the doc had to get in there and
Listen, you can make fun of me all you want for pulling muscles playing softball. You have that much of a devastating knee injury in a charity kickball game? That's embarrassing.
Isn't there a song like Pulling Muscles from a Shell?
Yeah.
Squeeze.
Yeah.
Great band.
You
Pulling
agree with me, though?
muscles pulling muscles from playing softball.
Yes. But do you agree with me, though, that as bad as I feel for that guy, he should be embarrassed that he did that while playing kickball?
Yeah, but
That's like a devastating knee. You're playing charity kickball.
Yeah, but he didn't hurt his
What are you,
knee.
made out of balsa wood?
Time out. He didn't
What?
hurt his knee kicking the ball. He hurt his knee running the bases.
That's even worse.
Well, it's just like you, Biggs.
It's
I
not
mean,
like me.
You are Hamzilla.
This is my point. It's not like me. I pulled a hamstring and a quad, and like that was like to you the worst athletic achievements you've ever seen is me running down to first base and pulling a hamstring. This guy blew out his entire knee playing charity kickball.
Yeah, I don't know how much kickball he plays. I knew you didn't play any softball, but that was the first play of the first year. Your first at bat in the first year you played softball with us.
But
you pulled your hamstring
and I stayed in the game and
running,
played it out.
running 60 feet.
Yeah, right. And sprinting 60 feet to try to get on base, and I played the rest of the game. And it was just it was a slight pull. This guy had to have surgery. You can't compare the two.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
He was trying to. I don't know if he was trying to leg something out.
Whatever it was, he tore up his knee.
But
playing kickball.
I know that. But once you get past the kickball part of it, now you're running and you're doing things that you would normally do, whether you're playing pickleball, tennis. You don't run when you play golf, but I'm just saying, like there's sports that you do where you can actually hurt yourself just by running, like as you've done many times.
Yeah, but
I don't know why you should not be sitting in judgment of anybody. I'll sit in judgment, not you.
Yeah, but you're way off on this. My point is that you will sit there and be like, oh, you pulled your quad, you pulled your hamstring. Meanwhile, you got empathy for the guy who had like the Adrian Peterson knee surgery playing charity kickball. Doesn't make any sense. That's the guy you make fun of.
Charity kickball. He could have been playing charity softball. He could have been playing charity pickleball.
But there's also a connotation with kickball that makes it even worse, I feel like.
Yeah, but
kickball's the thing you do in 5th grade.
But he didn't hurt himself.
Like you put down your carton
ball
of milk and you kick a ball on in a playground. Like they kickball.
But it was a charity event.
Okay. Well, I'm just not going to get through to you on this one. That's fine. We can agree to disagree, but I feel like the people know where I'm coming from with this one. So we'll just let that one lie.
Tiny knees. Little tiny knees.
I just see what people miss there is Boomer did like that Kermit the Frog sort of, I'm going to take a sip of something, and I was waiting to see what the next words out of his mouth were, and then were tiny knees. So that was funny. All right, now Jerry Recco joins us just a little bit with an update. Happy baseball on a Feel Good Summer Friday.